Yo, yo, yo. What up, what up, what up, my betting family? We back with another video here at No Limit Bets. And in today's video, I'm going to be bringing out my top 6 picks for tonight's NBA playoff games. Before we get started, though, as always, I would like to say good morning to y'all, good afternoon, whatever time it may be that you're watching this video. Hope y'all having a good one, and hopefully we can make it a better day by winning some money. Also, if you guys are new to the channel and would like to join our No Limit Bets family, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's truly appreciated. We're currently on the road to 2,000 subscribers, so I definitely appreciate all the love and support that you guys have shown thus far. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into today's video. Before I hop into my top 6 picks, just want to do a quick recap of yesterday's slips that we did submit. We had one slip submitted in our Twitter account, and then the other slip obviously was our picks that we posted on yesterday's video. As you guys can see with this first slip, it is the one from our Twitter account. We were only able to go 3-3 as Marcus Smart was able to hit his over 9.5 rebounds and assists, finishing with 11. And we were able to call the under on Donovan Mitchell's 32.5 points. He only ends up with 17. In this game, Donovan Mitchell was pretty much the Cavs playmaker and facilitator. And Darius Garland had a great scoring game. I think he had like 26 in the first half. But we were able to call the under on Donovan Mitchell's 32.5 points. And then we were also able to call the under on KD's 5.5 assists. He did come close, but we were still able to green as he only ends up with 5. Now, the other 3 that weren't able to hit, we had Jalen Brunson as the Taco Tuesday prop discounted. They discounted his points from down to 20.5 from 24.5, and he ends up right on the hook either way, finishing with only 20. Now, the Cavs did pretty much dominate this game. They were up pretty much from the start to the finish, blowing out the Knicks throughout the game. So he wasn't able to hit for us. We also had the under on DeJounte Murray's 29.5 PRAs. I thought from after game 1 having a tremendous game, I thought this would be a letdown spot for him, but he did have it. He did get it going in the second half. In the first half, it was looking good. He wasn't really being as effective, but as I just mentioned, in the second half, he did turn things up and was able to get his over, finishing with 35 PRAs. And then the last one, Russell Westbrook, we took his over 14.5 rebounds and assists. He falls short, only ended with 10 rebounds and assists, but he did have a great scoring game in game 2, even though the Clippers did end up losing that game. So 3-3 on our Twitter account slip. Moving on to our second slip, which was the picks that we posted on yesterday's video. We also were only able to go 3-3 as Malcolm Brogdon, Evan Mobley, and RJ Barrett were the ones that were able to green for us. We had Malcolm Brogdon over 18.5 PRAs. He ends up with 23. We took Evan Mobley over 11.5 rebounds and assists. He gets over with 13. With this one, he pretty much did all of it in rebounds. I think he only had like 1 assist, maybe 2, but I think it was only 1. And then we were able to call the under on RJ Barrett's 25 PRA line. Now, I know throughout the day it did drop down to 22.5, but either way, you were still able to green as he only ends up with 17 PRAs. Now, the 3 that weren't able to hit, Trae Young, let us down. He did have a great first half. I mean, he did have it going early on, but in the second half, he pretty much just kind of faded away and was only able to finish with 30 points and assists. He did have an opportunity, obviously, throughout the game, with the threes that he did make, but towards the end of the game, he did have an opportunity. He did shoot a 3 to just barely make it over, but I believe that if I remember correctly, that shot got blocked or he missed it or whatever, obviously. But He falls short with only 30 points and assists. Then we also took the over on KD's 27.5 points, which he only finishes with 25. And then the over on Norman Powell's 14.5 points, which he only ends up with 12. So a 3-3 day for the picks posted on yesterday's video. It is an improvement as on Monday's slips we went 0-4 pretty much. We didn't green not one prop, but like I said, it is an improvement. We were able to go 3-3, so hopefully we just keep improving heading into today and hopefully get the sweep. So let's go ahead and hop into my top 6 picks. For my first pick, I'm going to start us off with the Lakers and Grizzlies games. I'm going to be going to the points and assists category. And I'm going to be starting off with an under. And I'm going to be taking the under on Dillon Brooks, 17.5 points and assists. Now, in game 1, he did finish right on the hook, scoring 15 points with 2 assists. Ended with 17 points and assists. But being that he is going to pretty much or is the primary defender on LeBron, I think his main focus is obviously going to be on the defensive side of things. As we know, Dillon Brooks is not much of a scorer. He can have those nights where he does score over 15 points or whatnot. I don't expect that to be the case tonight. As over the last 7 games, the Lakers allowed the 4th least points per game and the 5th least assists per game to opposing small forwards. And in all 3 matchups during the regular season, Dillon Brooks went under in all 3 games. In those 3 games, he had 12 points and assists, 9 and 13. Now, I just mentioned, he is going to have his main focus is on the defensive side of things, guarding LeBron. And I just expect Dillon Brooks to not have much of an impact, obviously, on the offensive end. As we know, he does struggle to score, and he's not much of a facilitator, as they have, Tyus Jones, Ja Morant, if he plays. They have Desmond Bates. They have other players that facilitate for them, and Dillon Brooks is not going to be that guy. So I'm going to be taking the under on Dillon Brooks, 17.5 points and assists for my first pick. For my second pick, I'm going to go to the Lakers side of things, and I'm going to go to the PRA category, and I'm going to be taking D'Angelo Russell over 25.5 PRAs. Now, as you guys can see, over his last 5, he is averaging just below this line at 24.4, hitting the over in 2 out of his last 5 games. He did come close in a couple of those against Utah, where he ended up with 24, and against the Clippers, where he ended up right on the hook with 25. But in game 1, he did go over, finishing with 30 PRAs. Now, in 20 career games versus Memphis, Russell is averaging 21.8 points per game, 6.8 assists, and 3.7 rebounds, which is obviously well above this line. He's hit it pretty much on average just in points alone, and he has hit the over in 17 of his last 20 games against them. So he's definitely had a good track record against the Grizzlies. And over the last 15 games, Memphis allowed the 10th most points per game, the 3rd most rebounds per game, and the 2nd most 3-point makes per game to opposing point guards. So they have struggled here recently against the point guard position. And as we know, Russell could definitely heat up and get it going offensively. But he's also a good enough facilitator that he can obviously get us a good number of assists. Now, I expect for Russell to put up similar numbers as he did in game 1. I expect him to put up the similar numbers in game 2, as Memphis really doesn't have any defensive guards. I mean, they do have Ja Morant, Desmond Bain being probably their best defensive guard. They also have Tyus Jones, so they don't have a lot of defenders at that guard position. So I expect Russell to also have another a great impact game here in game 2 and get us at least 26 PRA. So I'm going to be rocking with him for my second pick. For my third pick, I'm going to be going down to the next game on the slate, the Heat against the Bucks. And I'm going to go ahead and in this one right here, I'm taking 2 unders. I'll explain here in a second why. My first one, I'm going to go to the points category, and I'm going to be taking the under on Jimmy Butler's 27.5 points. I think this line is a little bit too high for him. I know about playoff Jimmy and all that, and he definitely could get it going. But usually after a big game, he follows it up with a subpar performance, and I expect this game to be one of those games. As you guys can see, over his last 5, he is averaging right at this line with 27.6, hitting the over in 2 out of his last 5 games. Excuse me. He did finish on the hook against Detroit, ended with 27. And in game 1, he did have a monster game, scoring 35 points. And like I just mentioned, usually when Jimmy has a great scoring game, he usually follows it up the next game with a subpar performance. And also, I expect the Bucks obviously to be the more desperate team, and this could be a blowout. So that's one of the reasons why I like the under. And he has, not including game 1, obviously, where he did go over, but not including game 1, he has gone under against the Bucks in 8 of his last 9 games against them. And for the season, the Bucks allowed the 6th least points per game to opposing small forwards. So all in all, I think this is going to be a down spot for Jimmy. So I'm going to be taking his under 27.5 points. And for my fourth pick, I'm going to go to the Bucks side of things, and I'm going to be taking another under. I'm going to be going to the rebounds category, and I'm going to be taking the under on Brook Lopez, 7 rebounds. Now, as you guys can see, over his last 5, he's only averaging 4.4. He did end up with a push against Chicago and then right at 7. But in game 1, as you guys can see, he only ended up with 4 rebounds. I really don't expect things to change as far as in rebounding for Brook Lopez in game 2. As for the season, the Heat allowed the 2nd least rebounds per game to opposing center. And in his last 10 games versus the Heat, he has gone under in 7 out of those 10 games, only averaging 5.5 rebounds per game in those 10 games. Now, he did just barely made it over in 1 game. Out of those last 10, excuse me, he did just go over, having 8 rebounds, and the other 2, he ended right at the push with 7. So, obviously, we know that Giannis is probably not gonna play. He might play, is still up in the air, but if he doesn't play this season, he has averaged 7 rebounds per game, which is right at this line in 17 games that Giannis did not play this season, only going over in 6 out of those 17 games. Now, Brook Lopez, at this stage of his career, and for the Bucks offense, he's more of a stretch 5. He doesn't really, obviously, he can't have those those games where he rebounds high and obviously has double-digit rebounds, but I don't expect this to be one of those games. Number 1, he is a stretch 5. Number 2, the Heat have been great all season at giving up rebounds to opposing centers. And number 3 is this has blowout potential in my mind. So I don't. If it is a blowout, obviously he won't get his minutes. I think he could have a great offensive game if Giannis doesn't play. Brook Lopez can, but as far as in rebounds, I don't like it here tonight. So I'm going to be taking his under 7 rebounds. And for my 5th and 6th picks, my last 2 picks, I'm going to be going to the night game, the Timberwolves against the Nuggets. And to start us off, I'm going to be taking the over Jokic rebounds and assists, which is at 21.5, I believe. Yes, 21.5 rebounds and assists. I'm going to be taking the over on this. Now, in game 1, He had 20 rebounds and assists, but he only played 28 minutes as he dealt with foul trouble throughout the game and ultimately ended up fouling out in this game. So I definitely expect him to play over 28 minutes here tonight, as long as this is not a blowout. And obviously, I expect him to at least get us 22 rebounds and assists. As we all know what Jokic is capable of. He's always on a triple double watch. And like I said, I expect him to play more minutes. As long as it's not a blowout, I don't expect him to get into foul trouble again. But he has hit this over in 7 out of his last 10 versus the Timberwolves. And 2 out of the 3 that he did miss, he ended up right on the hook with 21. Now, over the last 7 games, the Timberwolves have allowed the 10th most rebounds per game and the 7th most assists per game to opposing centers. So, all in all, I expect Jokic to have a big game here tonight in Game 2. And like I just said, he's always on a triple-double watch, so he might get a triple-double tonight. But I obviously like him to get at least 22 rebounds and assists for us tonight. So I'm going to be rocking with him for my 5th pick. And for my 6th and last pick, I'm going to go to the Timberwolves side of things. I'm going to go to the points category. And I'm going to be taking Karl Anthony Towns over 20.5 points. Now, I know in Game 1, he had a rough Game 1, only having 11 points. But as you guys can see, over his last 5 games, he is averaging above this line at 23 points per game, hitting the over in 4 out of those last 5 games. The lone one that he missed, like I just mentioned, was Game 1, where he had a rough game, only scoring 11 points, going 5 from 15 from the field, once from 7 from the 3-point line, and 0 for 2 from the free throw line. I definitely don't expect this game to be as bad for him as in Game 1. I obviously expect him to be more of in a rhythm. I expect this to be a bounce back game for him. Now, he didn't play the Nuggets all of this season and none of their matchups, as he was dealing with that injury that kept him out pretty much all season or most of the season. But before Game 1, he did hit this over in 10 out of his last 12 versus the Nuggets. And the 2 that he did miss, one he missed on the hook with 20 points, and the other he had a bad game with 14 points. Now, also, as we know, the Timberwolves are going to need Cat to come out and have a great performance here in Game 2 if they have any chance of winning. Anthony Edwards has not been himself. He has been dealing with an injury that he's playing through. So they definitely are going to need Cat to step up and have a big game here in Game 2. And I expect him to do so. So I'm going to be taking his over 20.5 points. And that's going to be it for my top 6 picks, y'all. Just to recap, we're going to be taking the under on Dylan Brooks' points and assists, the over on D'Angelo Russell's 25.5 PRAs, the under on Jimmy Butler's 27.5 points, the under on Brook Lopez 7 rebounds, and then we're going to be taking the over on Jokic 21.5 rebounds and assists, and the over on Cat's 20.5 points. As always, if you agree with any of my plays, please do your own research. Just don't take my word for it. And also here at No Limit Bets, we like to go with the low risk, high reward. So I'm going to be placing a $6 bet for the possibility of winning $150. So let's go ahead and place that entry. And that's going to be it for today's video, y'all. Be on the lookout throughout the day for another slip that's going to be posted on my Twitter account. But other than that, you guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the games tonight, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Let's get this money.